In a small village on the outskirts of a large city, there lived a family that was known by everyone for their kindness and generosity, even though they themselves had very little. The family consisted of Ramesh, his wife Asha, and their 2 children, Meena and Ravi. They lived in a tiny, old house with crumbling walls and a leaky roof, but it was filled with love and laughter. Despite their poverty, the family never complained about their struggles. Instead, they worked hard every day and always supported each other through thick and thin. Ramesh worked as a laborer in the nearby fields, earning just enough to feed his family for the day. Asha would take up small jobs like washing clothes or selling handmade crafts at the village market. They lived hand to mouth, with no savings to fall back on, and sometimes even went to bed hungry. But they never let their situation affect their spirit. They always taught their children to be grateful for what they had and to help others whenever they could. Meena, the elder of the 2 children, was 12 years old and had a sharp mind. She loved going to school and was one of the top students in her class. She dreamed of becoming a teacher one day so she could help other children in the village. Ravi, the younger brother, was only 9 but already showed signs of being a thoughtful and kind young boy. He adored his family and was always quick to lend a hand, whether it was fetching water from the well or helping Asha in the market. One evening, as the family sat together for dinner, a simple meal of rice and lentils, Ramesh returned home looking tired and worried. His usual smile was gone, and Asha immediately noticed something was wrong. "What happened, Ramesh?" Asha asked, her voice filled with concern. Ramesh sighed heavily and sat down beside her. "There's not much work left in the fields. The crops have failed this season, and the landowners don't need as many laborers. They told me they won't be able to give me regular work for the next few months." Asha's heart sank. She knew what this meant for their already precarious situation. Without Ramesh's income, they wouldn't be able to afford even the basic necessities. The children looked at their parents, sensing the tension, but not fully understanding the gravity of the situation. Meena spoke up first. "Don't worry, Baba. We'll manage somehow. I can help Mama in the market more often, and Ravi can help too. We'll get through this together." Ravi nodded eagerly. "Yes, Baba, we'll work hard. I can sell more water at the market, and maybe we can make some extra money that way." Ramesh looked at his children with pride, but deep inside, he felt a sense of helplessness. He had always promised to provide for his family, and now he didn't know how he would keep that promise. Asha, sensing his distress, placed her hand on his and gave him a reassuring smile. "We'll find a way," she said softly. We always do. The next morning, Ramesh set out in search of any work he could find. He knocked on doors, visited neighboring villages, and spoke to everyone he knew. But the drought had affected the entire region, and work was scarce everywhere. After days of searching, he returned home empty-handed and exhausted. Meanwhile, Asha and the children did everything they could to make ends meet. Asha increased her hours at the market, taking on extra sewing and cleaning jobs. Meena and Ravi helped wherever they could, sacrificing their free time to assist their mother. Despite their efforts, the family soon ran out of money. The little savings they had were gone, and they began to rely on the kindness of their neighbors for food. But the villagers were also struggling, and soon, the help they received became less frequent. As the weeks went by, the situation grew more desperate. Ramesh was unable to find steady work, and the family's meals became smaller and less frequent. Some nights, they had nothing but a few scraps of bread and water to share. Yet, even in these dark times, they found ways to stay hopeful. Asha continued to remind the children of the importance of education, and every evening, after their chores were done, she would sit with them and help them with their schoolwork by the dim light of their oil lamp. One evening, after a particularly hard day, Ramesh came home with a surprise. He had found a small job at a construction site in the city. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep the family going for a little while longer. The news brought a sense of relief to the household, and for the first time in weeks, they sat down to a proper meal: rice, vegetables, and even a small piece of meat. As they ate, Ramesh couldn't help but notice the joy on his children's faces. He realized that despite their poverty, they still found happiness in the little things. It wasn't the food or the money that made them happy, it was the fact that they were together. They had each other, and that was worth more than any riches in the world. But life was not done testing the family. One day, Ramesh fell ill. The long hours and hard physical labor had taken a toll on his health, and he became too weak to work. Asha did her best to care for him, but without money for proper medicine, Ramesh's condition worsened. The family was once again thrown into crisis, and this time, it felt as though their world was falling apart. As Ramesh lay in bed, unable to move, he felt a deep sense of failure. He had always been the provider, the one his family relied on, and now he couldn't even get out of bed. He worried for his children's future, for Asha's well-being, and for the home they had struggled so hard to keep. But Asha refused to give up. She continued to work as much as she could, even as she took care of Ramesh. Meena and Ravi stepped up even more, helping their mother and doing whatever they could to ease the burden. The villagers, seeing the family's plight, began to help again. They brought food, offered to take care of Ramesh when Asha needed to work, and gave the family the support they desperately needed. Through the worst of their hardships, the family never lost hope. Asha's determination, the children's resilience, and the kindness of their neighbors saw them through. Slowly, Ramesh began to recover, and after a few months, he was able to return to work, though he still took it easy to avoid falling ill again. As time passed, things began to improve for the family. Ramesh found more steady work, Asha's crafts became popular in the market, and Meena continued to excel in school. The family was far from rich, but they were no longer on the brink of starvation. They had survived the darkest period of their lives through love, perseverance, and the strength of their bond. Years later, Meena fulfilled her dream of becoming a teacher, and Ravi went on to start his own small business in the village. Ramesh and Asha, now older, looked back on those difficult years with a sense of pride. They had faced seemingly insurmountable challenges, but they had come out stronger because of them. The family had been poor in material wealth, but rich in love and unity. And in the end, that was all that truly mattered.